Good evening, it's March 28th, 2016, and this is the Drive Check Podcast. Jack, do you have a doggo or a catto?
I do.
What kind of pet do you have?
I have 2 dogs.
Are they both yours, or it's like family?
Family shared, yeah.
Are they like awesome dogs, or what kind?
They are multi-poos.
What? I've never heard of that before.
I don't know what that means either, so.
So they're part poodle and part a bunch of other stuff going on?
Oh, no. It's Maltese and poodle.
Oh, multi-poo.
Yeah.
I thought you said multi-poo.
I might have. I'm not sure.
And Cole, what do you have?
At my mom's house, I have a big black lab, a golden retriever, and Brittany Spaniel mix, and then 2 kittens.
Wow, that's a lot. I thought I had a lot of animals, and I just had the 2.
Well, it started with 2 dogs, and then over the summer they got 2 cats, so now it's 4. Plus children and stepchildren running around.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Children are the worst.
They are.
Yep, somebody's barking.
Speaking of dogs.
So let's actually talk about some Vanguard. So Jack, it's been a week since the pre-release. Did you get any Vanguard in this week?
Yeah, this week, let's see. I got my mail. I got 2 lava flow dragons for my Kagero deck that I'll be building once the Legend deck drops. Spoiler alerts for later in the episode. And I got the rest of my Lose, Barkles, and Fogles for my Thing Saver deck. So now that deck is done.
So yeah. That's Royal Paladin deck?
Yeah.
Thing Saver?
Yeah.
And, so where'd you play? Did you get to play in any local card shops? Or?
I just played a couple pickup games with some friends. There was a couple people back from college this week, so I got to play with them. So that was
cool.
Yeah.
Did they have any interesting decks?
One of my friends who he had before he left for college, he had one really budget deck, and he came back and he had Shadow Paladin witches, Genesis witches, Oracle Think Tank witches. He had all the witch decks for whatever reason.
I believe in Oracle Think Tank they're Megases. Thank you.
No, there's a witch deck too, I believe, isn't there?
Is there really?
Yeah, the Silent Witch Coco, that deck.
Oh, Scarlet Witch Coco. Yeah. You are right.
Yeah.
Oh, shame on me.
Getting schooled on your own clan.
I know, and that's a deck I used to play. Yeah, because you do, what was the mix? It's Scarlet Witch, right? There's another witch, and then you do one Battle Sister. You do Cookie and Cream.
Yeah. I don't think that's what the deck is now, but I didn't play against that deck.
Years ago.
Yeah, I remember playing against that deck a long time ago.
Back in the day.
Did you get any Vanguard in this week?
I actually did, and it's been a very long time since I've had some chill games, but there was probably 5 people at my shop this weekend, and it's pretty cool because they're all cool people, and it was just a really relaxed time. There wasn't any tournament or anything like that going on, and I got a chance to try out my new Prominence Glares in my deck, and holy cow, it makes a difference.
So that's Gold Paladin?
Yeah, Gold Paladin. Bluish Flame.
What are you fitting them into? Into a Bluish Flame, right?
Yeah.
Worth that price tag?
Yeah. Man.
So what do the Prominence dudes do?
So it's a Legion, and its Legion mate is Regulation Liberator Aglaville, which if you're playing Bluish Flames, you're going to have 4 of them in there anyway, no matter if you're actually running Glare or not. And then he's got an auto ability when what was it? Yeah, when a unit is placed on the rear guard from your deck, and this unit is Legion, I'm going to pay the cost, which is 1 counterblast, and discard a Bluish Flame from your hand. And then until the end of the turn, you get +1 crit, and during the battle phase, this unit cannot be guarded. your opponent cannot call grade 1 or greater units to guard. But
so no perfect guards.
No perfect guards.
I think we're going to be hearing some more about that later on in this episode as well.
Yeah, and then it's got an activated ability, which is just like cores, and it's Counterblast 1, and then choose your rear guard and retire it. Then I get to look at the top 4 of my deck and search for Liberate and call it. It doesn't even have to be to an open circle. And I can only do that once per turn.
Where does it go?
You call it to the rear guard.
So you can just retire a rear guard that you have out and put.
You can put it in
the top of it.
Yep.
See, that's because a lot of the gold paladins, like the older ones, say open rear guard, so you never got like extra attacks in. Now that they're putting like ones that don't say the open rear guard requirement, it's like a lot better. Just that one word makes a big difference.
Yep, that's the same.
It does.
Yeah, core has the same as well as glare. It's like their secondary ability, which is pretty sweet.
And do you know if it can be placed over a locked card as well?
Nothing. If I remember the rules correctly, nothing is able to be placed over a locked card.
That's what I like to hear.
No.
That's why I play Ezel and I can unlock my cards.
Is that the only deck that can unlock cards?
There's an Alfred. There's a Royal Paladin Stride that unlocks rear guards too.
All right.
But those are the only two.
Yeah. So I got to play. I didn't go to League this weekend because I went out to Annapolis to play at Third Eye Games out there with my buddy Joe, and he has a not really well constructed, like to any standard dark or regulars deck. It's like kind of like a Legion deck. But he never Legions. And he's got like the cards for the Legion, but he just never does it. But I am still so bad at playing Messiahs that I still lost to him. Like 2 out of 3 games I lost to him. I just really have to work on figuring out what the mechanic is. And I think part of my problem right now is a lot of the Messiah build that I'm doing, a lot of the cards rely on a Generation Break 1. And if I get grade locked, or if it just takes a long time to get to Generation Break 1, then I take way too much damage, and then it's too late.
Yeah, that's a problem that a lot of decks have because of the introduction of the Generation Break mechanic. It just like slowed down a lot of cards in the game.
Well, it slows down my ability to do the fun stuff like locking and unlocking, but I still also need to study my cards a little better because I know there's ones in there that lock my own rear guard and lock an opponent's rear guard and unlock at different times, but I'm not sure which ones do what. So that's on me to get better at learning my actual card mechanics. And I think my plan is to buy 1 Amnesty Messiah per month.
I've seen builds. You need 3, right? I've seen builds that play 3. Is that what it is, or is it 2?
Well, I want to have 4 so that if I do also want to play Exilix Messiah, Messiah requires 2 Amnesty Messiahs. So
okay.
And I also had a question because I've been playing in place of the Amnesty Messiah, the Big Crunch Dragon. Now, the Big Crunch Dragon Stride does not mention including the name of the heart card. Does that mean I don't get to use the abilities of that Vanguard if it doesn't mention that it retains the name of the heart card?
Let me pull up Big Crunch Dragon real fast. So what was your question again?
So it in the wording of the Stride, it does not say that it retains the name of the heart card. Like some of the Strides like explicitly say that it retains the name of the heart.
Oh no, all Strides retain the name of their heart. It's like when they have those in the card name, generally it's saying like you must have a card with this in the heart to use this effect.
Oh, okay.
It's generally what that means.
So the heart card has to say Messiah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, for example, there's an Ezel Stride where you have to have an Ezel Heart to use its effect, and then it says like this card requires an Ezel Heart, like in the requirements for the effect. But I don't see. This one is just a general stride that you don't. Yeah, so you don't. It doesn't require you to have any specific heart. But all strides do retain. They retain the name of the stride and the name of the heart card. So like, what's your main grade 3? It's
Judgment Messiah?
Yeah, so you're on Judgment Messiah. You stride into Nebula Dragon, Big Crunch Dragon. Your Vanguard, its name is Nebula Dragon, Big Crunch Dragon, and its name is also Messiah.
All right. Okay, that was a question that I had, because I think there was something in the Judgment Messiah's wording that kind of required that a Messiah be the Vanguard. Or one of my other cards required that a Messiah was the Vanguard. So wanted to make sure that I was still playing that right. So I'm leaving. So I always buy packs on the way out of the card shop. Mm-hmm. So I got a few packs of Moonlit Dragonfang, trying to get that Exilix Messiah in there. And I got a few packs of the release that only has deleters, and I can't remember the first word in the name of that.
Oh, it's the comic booster?
Yeah.
It's the Royal Paladin and Deleter one, right?
Yeah, but what's the first word? Because it's not Royal Paladins and Deleters. It's something else.
It is
terrible.
Vanguard and Deleter.
Yeah, that just seems like such a bad name, because they're all Vanguard cards.
That's also why that set, I'm sure that's another reason that set didn't sell very well at all.
Why? Because it's just Royal Paladins and Deleters?
Well, it's a weird name, and none of the Royal Paladin cards in that set are particularly competitive. Oh, wow. At least. I haven't looked at the Deleters, but...
Because I was thinking of moving, expanding my Link Joker play to...
Yeah, there's a lot of fun builds for Link Joker.
Yeah, there's a lot of expensive builds for Link Joker, so... We'll see how that goes over time. I get paid on Thursday, so I'll put in an order for an Amnesty Messiah at that point. All right, so besides our main topic for the day, which would be the overall news, we did see some new cards released, and I saw the one that was interesting to me, which people have been calling the Spaghetti Messiah, which is a stride that... when you stride, basically all it does is any of your opponent's cards that are not locked, you lock, and any of your cards that are locked get unlocked, which just seems like a ton of fun, and to make things easy, and hopefully it won't be $100. So,
generally the price cap for Fighters Collection Generation rares are like 30 to 40, I believe, as long as you get them like right when the set comes out.
Is that going to be part of a Fighters Collection?
Yes, it was a Fighters Collection card.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the second Legend deck that's coming out in last year. It was last April in Japan and June in the US. The first Legend deck came out, which was based on the Ren character from the cartoon and his Shadow Paladins, and now we're getting the second Legend deck that is based on Toshiki Kai, who we all remember from the first season of the cartoon. For anybody who's gotten past that first season, I congratulate you. But he was known in that first year as playing the Kagero Clan. So this is a special deck. It's not a starter deck. It is constructed to be a little bit better than a starter deck, but it is based on the Kagero Clan, and the Kageros are the leaders of the Dragon Nation. So they're kind of like the top clan they are kind of like the Royal Paladins or the top clan of United Sanctuary. And the main theme of the Kageros, or the main avatar Vanguard of the Kagero clans has traditionally been Dragonic Overlord, and then he has an additional name depending on how they are changing that card over time. Now, I know before we get into specific cards in the Legend deck, the original concept of Kagero was restanding. And when you restood even the Vanguard, it would get a power up. So if a rear guard hit and actually did damage, then you could restand the Vanguard, something along those lines, and it would also get a power up when it was restood. So is that maintained, do you think, in this deck, or is there going to be a completely different mechanic?
Well, Kagero, a lot of the time, a lot of their rear guards that they play retire the opponent's rear guards, and then their main Vanguard is usually the one that restands and gets extra drive checks, which boosts your rear guard's power a lot higher. Is generally how it works. And the main grade 3 of this deck, I don't know if we were going to get into this like right this second, but he is a restanding Vanguard.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that in a minute, as when we go through the actual value cards that are in the deck. So do we know how much it's going to cost in US dollars? Because it's looking to be, it was like about 3,500 yen, which is more or less $35 US.
I believe ours is cheap. I think the Rend Legend deck was like $20 to $30 because we don't get a lot of the things that the
like the sleeves.
Japan gets in there. So, we don't get the sleeves or the deck box.
Yeah, deck box.
Yeah. So, and also I'll say it now, and I'll probably say it a million times as we record over time. With Vanguard, it's kind of strange where with a lot of trading card games, your local card shop will have lower prices than you would find online or in other places. And sometimes with Vanguard, the trial decks and things are actually more expensive than you will find online and other places. So you definitely want to shop around if you are actually looking to get this deck and make sure you find the place that has the optimal price for it, and don't just buy it from a local card shop thinking that they're going to have the lowest price. So how would you describe it? The number of like grade 4s, grade 3s, grade 2s, etc. What's the variety? How many cards do you get overall?
With this deck specifically, you do get a full 58. You get a full 50 card deck, and you get a full 8 card G zone.
Are you sure it's an 8 card G zone, or is it a 6 card G zone?
It's 6, and then it comes with 2 promo Supreme Heavenly Emperor Dragon Dragonic Overlord the Ace.
Oh yeah.
So it turns out to be 8.
There you go. Ah. Well, that's better than a trial deck because the trial decks only come with 2 G zone cards.
Yes.
And what's the distribution? So we know that there's 8 grade 4s.
Mm-hmm.
There's 11 grade 2s, 14 grade 1s, and then 17 grade 0s.
How many 3s?
8, yeah.
Okay, so 8 and 8. All right. That's cool. So the cards in the deck, what do you think is the key card for the whole deck?
That would have to be Dragonic Overlord the Legend.
So I was kind of looking at this card and was very disturbed by its abilities. It seems way overpowered, and I mean, the thing that kind of struck me the most was that for a relatively simple maneuver, it becomes a grade 4 and gives triple drive. And that's not all it does. So that's what makes it even worse. But it's like you don't even need to stride this card to get triple drive.
Yeah, it's when you run out of, because a lot of the time you'll go, because most of the Kagero strides require you to flip up another stride as a part of the cost. So you'll go through your strides pretty quickly, and then once you run out of strides, you can go ahead and just use the Legend's ability and turn him into a stride. And because he does get that boost to a grade 4, some of the other grade 2s and 1s that come with the Legend deck that require you to be on grade 4, their skills do still activate even once you run out of strides.
Yeah, because it literally says on the card grade +1.
Yeah.
There's a name for when you have to flip over a card of the same name in the G zone in order to activate a card's ability, and it's along the line of, it's not Persona Blast, obviously.
It's Persona Flip, I believe, is what people call it.
That would sound appropriate. Persona Flip. So you have to Persona Flip.
What's Persona Blast then?
Persona Blast means you have to have a card of the same name in the soul, and then you soul blast it, but you have to have that card in the soul in order to do it.
Are you sure? I thought Persona Blast was where you discard the grade 3. From Dragonic Overlord the End requires you to discard a copy of Dragonic Overlord the End for its ability to activate. I thought that's what Persona Blast was.
Well, maybe it is. I thought it had to be in the soul, but maybe
no one even knows.
So we'll have to research that for a later definition of the week. Persona Blast. Another one of those weird words that we use in Vanguard and people only kind of understand what they mean. So let's talk about the set, the general cards outside of that key card. We'll get back around to it. So let's start with the grade 4s. What is the main ability of these strides? Because are there 3 different grade 4s, right?
Yes.
So the promo card one, what's the main purpose of that? What's it going to do for us?
Dragonic Overlord the Ace, it is a reprint. We did get this in a Fighters Collection, but the Fighters Collection card was like a $50 to $60 stride, so it's nice to be getting this for like newcomers to the game that they don't have to drop $100 on a pair of strides. And the this stride is called Supreme Heavenly Emperor Dragonic Overlord the Ace, and its ability is Counterblast 2, Persona Flip. If the number of your face-up cards in your G-Zone is 2 or more, until the end of the turn, this unit gets Drive -1, and once per turn, you can choose a card from your hand with Overlord in its card name, discard it, and at the end of the battle that this unit attacked a Vanguard, you pay the cost, stand this unit, and it gets plus 5,000 power. So it allows you to get 4 drive checks in one turn.
Okay, so it doesn't get triple drive. It loses triple drive, but it actually goes up to quadruple drive.
It goes up to, because you get twin drive twice, but this restander allows you to attack the Vanguard twice. With most restanders in Kagero, it requires you to attack the rear guard first to restand, and then you can attack the Vanguard.
Yeah. So my question now on Persona Flip. Let's say I flip my first card in my G-Zone, stride it onto my Vanguard, and it requires that I Persona Flip. In my opinion, I only have one face-up card in the G-Zone because the other one is on the Vanguard right now. Is that
the one on the Vanguard counts as part of your G-Zone? So, like, when it says... Or actually, when it says, like, Generation Break 2, and you have your flipped up in the G-Zone and you have your one on Vanguard, that counts for Generation Break 2. When it says specifically you have to have 2 in the G-Zone, I believe that it doesn't count the one on the Vanguard. But I'm not positive on that.
Concept. Well, another thing we'll have to research and find out over time. But that's why I never start with Nebula Dragon, Big Crunch Dragon, because it requires 2 face-up cards in the G-Zone to fire off. All right, so what other grade 4s we have there? We have a Nouvelle Vague, L'Express.
Oh my lord, that card. Do you want to read this one off? Someone else?
I can read it. Actually, Cole, can you read this one? Do you have it up?
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so it's an activated ability, Vanguard Circle, once per turn, Generation Break 2. Counterblast 1 and choose a face-down card named Transcendence, Divine Dragon, Nouvelle Vague, L'Express from your G-Zone and turn it face up. And then the actual effect is...
Flip there.
Until end of turn, this unit gains, during the battle that this unit attacks a Vanguard, your opponent cannot call grade 1 from the hand to the guard circle. And
so busted.
And during your turn, if the number of cards in your opponent's damage zone is 5 or more, all your opponent's trigger effects are nullified.
So they're not allowed to get that miracle 6 damage heal in there.
There's no heal trigger, but does it also mean that they can't get the power up? Is that a trigger
Yes, it
effect
does
as
mean
well?
that too.
Wow.
Yes.
There you go. So no perfect guard, no heal trigger, no power up.
I've never heard of a card doing that.
Yeah, Kageros are mean.
So yeah, this is going to be a great finisher for the deck. You play this like when they're at 5 damage, and they're pretty much just, they can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, so you put that towards the end of, or the bottom of your generation G-Zone deck. All right, and the next one is Supreme Heavenly Emperor Dragon Vortex Desire.
This one's not as good. It's still okay. It's just not as like, it's not to the levels of where your opponent can't use perfect shields, and like they don't get
Yeah, so
yeah, exactly.
It does not require a persona flip, but you do have to flip over a card in your Z zone, so you may as well persona flip. And let's see, when this unit attack hits, for each flame dragon on your Vanguard circle, choose up to one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards and retire it. So is there a grade 3 flame dragon? Oh, the flame dragon's the race.
Yes, flame dragon is the race.
That was in the name of the card. Okay. That's what tricked me. So you would basically only have one flame dragon in your Vanguard circle. So
no, it counts. The thing that's cool about this card, it counts your Vanguard, it counts your stride and your heart. So you retire 2, and then if you're in Legion, you retire 3.
Oh, can you stride over a Legion?
Yes, you can.
That's just it
counts as having 3 flame dragons, and you can retire 3 cards.
Wow! All right.
Yeah.
Is there a Legion in this deck?
There is not, but the Dragonic Overlord, the Cross in the end, is a good Legion. There's Dragonic Overlord, the Great. The clan has a couple of good legions.
Okay.
All right. So you could play this deck flat, but there's definitely text that you could make too.
Yeah, exactly. And like the thing about that stride is like it has a really good ability, but it's an on-hit stride, so it's automatically just like not as good as the other strides because it requires you to hit the attack for you to get the ability off.
And they can use a perfect guard against Supreme.
Exactly.
So they could block it, and then you don't get the benefit of having done a stride and wasted your hand cards and all the biz that goes along with that. All right.
Ember Dragon Midnight is the secondary grade 3. I don't think we really need to talk about that. It's just kind of a like deck filler. We can if you want, but I don't think it's really necessary.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Are there any special grade 2s out there?
Well, we have yet to finish talking about Dragonic Overlord, the Legend, which is like
that's right. Let's get back around to that.
Grade 3. So once per turn, Generation Break 2, Counterblast 1, and choose a grade 3 or greater Flame Dragon from your hand and discard it. Until the end of the turn, this unit gets Power plus 1500, Grade plus 1, Drive plus 1, and then Auto. Once per turn, choose 3 cards from your hand and discard them. At the end of the battle that this unit attacks a rear guard, you can discard those 3 cards and stand him, and he can attack again. So that's him becoming a stride. And then his secondary ability is Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. When you ride this unit onto your Vanguard circle, you pay the cost, and if you do, you look at the top 5 cards from your deck and you search for 1 Flame Dragon and reveal it to your opponent and put it into your hand. So the reason that this is good, there's perfect shields that are Flame Dragons. All your other grade 3s are Flame Dragons. You have 12k, but 12k attackers that are Flame Dragons. There's just a lot of good cards in the deck that are Flame Dragons. And this allows you to get to the cards you want to see.
Yeah, because you can just pick from among the top of your deck and pick the one that you feel that you most need at that point in time. And, well, I mean, you're doing a lot of hand payment for this, though, right?
Yeah, you are discarding 4 cards. But you are drive checking. You're discarding 4 cards, but you're drive checking 6 times. And then you also search a card when you ride him. So it's really not You're not losing out on much.
Are you drive checking 6 times because this requires attacking a rear guard?
You drive check when you attack a rear guard. You still drive check.
Really?
Yeah, if your
doing this
Vanguard
game
attacks.
completely wrong.
Yes, you still drive check when you attack a rear guard.
All
So you
right.
get 6 drive checks.
Maybe that's
which
why
is
I'm
just
always losing.
Really good. Well, when your Vanguard attacks a rear guard, you drive check. When your rear guard attacks a rear guard, you don't drive check. It's just whenever your Vanguard unit attacks, you drive check.
All right. So anything else about Dragonic Overlord the Legend?
I'm super excited for this card.
So any of the grade 2s worth pulling out?
There's the grade 2 Emperor Dragon Knight Nehalem, which is a really good grade 2. And it's super simple too. It's Generation Break 1. If you have a Vanguard with Overlord in its card name, he gets plus 2,000 power. And then when your grade 4 or greater Vanguard attacks, he gets plus 5,000 until the end of the turn. So that's potentially I'm not sure if your grade 4 Vanguard attacks more than once, he gets that ability more than once. But even then, it's still potentially a 16k attacker by himself, which is really good for hitting columns.
Oh, yeah. That does that stack. Because it doesn't say once per turn, right?
It does. I'm not sure on that. If it does stack, that's even better. Even if it doesn't stack, though, it's still a really good card.
Yeah, so that could be plus 12, actually, because of this standing 2,000 and then 2 5,000s.
So he's 21k by himself, and then you have a booster.
Remind me to lock that card the minute I see it come out on the field. Wow, that's harsh. So nothing else fun in the grade 2s?
Berserk Lord Dragon is an okay grade 2. Someone want to read that one?
I can read that one. Okay. So it's an auto rear circle. Generation Break 1, Counterblast 1. When your grade 4 or greater Vanguard attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards and retire it.
So again, I don't know if that means if your grade 4 attacks more than once, you get to retire more than once.
I mean, if it doesn't say once per turn, I'm going to say go for it.
Yeah, as long as you got the counterblast.
And actually,
this deck is a super counterblast heavy deck.
Armor of the Flame Dragon Bar, since his ability is when you use him to do an intercept, which is obviously what grade 2s are aimed for, you take a grade 3 Flame Dragon from your drop zone and put it on the bottom of your deck. So if you used, since you have to discard a grade 3 Flame Dragon to get Dragonic Overlord's ability, you can then use this card to intercept and get that grade 3 back into your deck.
Yeah, there's other cards that do that in this deck, I believe. It's just like intercepting, like your grade 2 lineup's already really full with retiring and your 21k attackers that you don't really run this card.
Okay. So you're just going to...
But it is an interesting card, yeah. That is something I'll be taking out.
So you get 4 of the Nehalem and you get 4 of the Berserk Lord Dragon. So
yes.
What other grade 2 would you put in there?
Right now, let me just pull up my deck list that I have planned for this deck. Right now, there's a couple of different cards I'm working with. There's a Dragonic Burnout, which is a really good card. And there's Burning Horn Dragon, which is another 12k attacker for the deck.
Okay.
So cool. Just a combination of those two, I would run.
2 and 2?
I'm not sure yet. Dragonic Burnout, I think, because like what I have right now, I have 4 Nehalem, 3 Burnout, 2 Berserk Lord, and 2 Burning Horn is what I have for my lineup right now.
Okay. Well, obviously it's something you play test and see how it
goes.
And
experiment with.
All right. So any of the grade 1s made for fun?
There's one grade 1 that I want to talk about here, and it's Lizard General Conroe.
Conroe. Now, there's a name that's been used in this game for a while.
Yeah.
All right, let me read his ability here. Choose a grade 3 card from your hand and reveal it, which is possibly the cheapest cost of any. Because I've seen a couple other cards that have that as the cost, and I'm like, they know what your grade 3 is going to be anyways. When this unit is placed on the rear guard circle from your hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 card with Overlord in its card name. Reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, choose a card from your hand, and discard it. So you can call out your Overlord. And then there's an activated ability on the rear card circle. Retire this unit. Choose one of your Vanguard with Overlord in its card name until the end of the turn. It gets auto when this unit attacks, counter charge 2. So you can power up. Oh, why?
So yes, so that has the potential to unflip 4 damage in 1 turn.
No, because you have to retire the unit.
No, yes, but the Vanguard gets the skill when this unit attacks. So if you have a Vanguard that attacks more than once.
Oh, dagnabbit, yes. When this unit attacks, right. Because it gains that ability onto the card itself. Oh,
yeah.
This is why Vanguard's so confusing. It's so straightforward and so confusing. Is like,
yeah.
Oh man. All right, and our
the Perfect Guard's pretty cool too. We can talk about that, but generally you'll be replacing that. Flame of Tranquility Airmo.
Does it have one of those special Perfect Guard abilities that can only guard the
does.
Vanguard?
I'll go ahead and read that. It's choose a card from your hand and discard it. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle from your hand, you can pay the cost. Choose one of your Vanguards that's being attacked, and it can't be hit until the end of the battle, so it's a Perfect Guard that only protects your Vanguard. It's not like the old ones where you can protect rear guards.
Yeah. They still make...
Yes, they do. So, and then it says, if you have a card named Flame of Tranquility Airmo in your drop zone, draw a card and choose a card from your hand and discard it. So it just allows you to cycle through your deck more.
That's decent. It's not the best
I've
seen.
It's a good card, but it's not a flame dragon, so you can't take it from the top 5 with when you ride Dragonic Overlord the Legend. So you're generally going to replace this with for Protect Orb Dragon, which is when there's another copy in your drop zone, you unflip a damage.
Is that a flame dragon as well?
Yes, that's a flame dragon, and that's in set 1.
Yeah.
Set 1. Yeah.
I think with this deck, you probably want to get as many flame dragons as you can into the deck.
Yeah.
All right. And our Forerunner is Lizard Hero Undo. I don't know why the Kageros are French, but Cole, do you want to read that one?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I wanted to make sure I had the right card. Alright, so it's got an auto Forerunner. And then an activated rear circle, generation break 1, counterblast 1, and put this unit into your soul. Search your deck for up to 1 card with Overlord in its card name. Reveal it to your opponent and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterward.
All right, so that's actually the same as Neon Messiah. It pretty much you can, once you've hit Generation Break 1, you can seek out an Overlord. So as it is with Neon Messiah, there's probably a better Forerunner in Kageros that you might want to use.
Well, because the original Conroe was banned from being your starter, this is actually the best starter you have now.
Oh,
because the other starter that we have is just a counterblast 1, check the top 5, and add a grade 3 to your hand. This allows you to search your entire deck. So this is generally better. And in Kagero, a lot of the skills require you to Persona Blast and discard like a grade 3 with the same name as your Vanguard, so it's really helpful to have this.
That's true. This one particular Dragonic Overlord does not require the Persona Blast, but it does require discarding a grade 3. So
yeah,
at least this way, you can get out a grade 3 to discard. All right. And then, are there any of the triggers that have special abilities on them?
I don't believe so, but it's a fun fact about these triggers. They're all 4 based on the characters from Journey to the West, like the Chinese folktale. I don't know if any of you have heard about that. That's just something I've heard.
Dragon Ball Z is based on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so.
I like Cole's response. Sure. I'll believe you when I see it. But the deck as it's built runs 8 crits, 4 draws, 4 health. 4
yes.
heals. So that's actually pretty standard in what I've seen in the pre-built decks these days.
Mm-hmm.
And none of them have any special abilities on them, so they're all flat 5,000 power trigger cards.
So most of them will probably be replaced, especially since none of them are flame dragons. So, because like if you search a trigger from the top 5, it gives you an extra 10k shield to guard with. If you don't see a perfect trigger or a perfect guard in those top 5.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're probably going to replace these with flame dragon triggers, which there are critical triggers there are 8 critical triggers that are flame dragons. There are 4 draw triggers, and there are 4 heal triggers, I believe. So,
all right, so flame dragon it up.
Yeah.
So, would you say there's any value in buying 2 of this deck, or is it pretty much buy 1 and then buy the fill-ins that you want to do for replacement?
Well, the way it works, you get like 1 holo copy, and then you get like 3 common copies of a lot of the cards. So if you want to, you could just buy 4 of them and have like a fully hollowed out deck.
Well, because that's really important, because hollow cards actually play better.
A lot of people care about that. I'm not a person that cares about that, so I won't be doing that.
Right.
So I'll just be buying one of these. Yeah.
You only use hollows?
No, well, most of my deck is hollows. That's just because that's all they come in. But I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
So if it says 16 of the cards in the deck are going to be triple rare, so can they be triple rare and not be hollow?
No. So I think one of each card, you get a hollow version of one of each card, I think is how it works.
Oh, okay.
And then it comes with 3, and then the rest of the copies of that card are common.
Okay, so it's just every card. Yeah, 1 hollow, and then.
Yes, I believe that's what it is. Yes.
Yeah, there are 16 different names for cards in the deck. So
naturally, you need to get 4 of these.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Maybe, yeah. I might buy like 3 more triple rare Dragonic Overlord the Legend, but I'm not going to worry about everything being hollow.
Yeah, no. Not worth it.
All right, so Cole, do you think this is a deck you would invest in because it's OP and crazy, too crazy powerful?
Yeah, I'm honestly considering it. I wasn't before because Kagero didn't really appeal to me, but now looking at what they can do and how, I guess, well constructed this deck is, and it will only take a couple substitutions in order to make it really viable. I definitely think I'd want it.
So you just want to join the hop on the bandwagon?
No,
Kagero bandwagon.
If it teaches me another style, sure. Because the bluish flames are fun and all, but they're getting a little stale.
Oh yeah, you don't invest enough in multi-clanning. Like,
I'm trying to ball on a budget, man.
Yeah, I think out of all of us, Jack spends the most money on multi-clanning.
I wouldn't say I'd spend the most money. I just had I had old decks lying around from like a while ago, and then suddenly they all got support, and then I bought like what little I needed to make them updated decks.
Yeah, you spend the most money on multi-clanning.
Yeah.
I spend the most money on single clanning. And Cole spends the least money he possibly can.
I spend it on other games too. That's my
that's true. You're looking into a lot of different TCGs where
multi-gaming. He's a multi-gaming spender.
Yeah.
And actually, just thinking about this, what really strikes me is I think that this might be a good deck because I do have a lot of people who come to me now and they're like, I'm interested in learning about Vanguard, and I'd like to be able to play. What can you recommend for me? This is like the first time I'm seeing a pre-built deck where it's like, buy this deck, and it's actually somewhat viable. Yes.
So what you tell them is you say, buy this deck, take out your novels, and then play the deck against me.
Why not take out your novels? Replace your novels with a Blizza. No, what is the Messiah Stride? The plain Cray Elemental Messiah Stride.
I don't remember.
I gave you one, and I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like
I gave you 3
or something weird.
Yeah.
Wasn't it a promo?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a promo.
Well, have them replace the novels with that, and then you can play against them. They won't know what they're doing anyways.
It gets 16k power instead of 15k. It's good.
Well, yeah, because it's vanilla.
It's very vanilla.
Oh, poor whatever his name is, Messiah. I think it may be Genesis Messiah's. What I can't remember right now, and I'm not looking at it. So we've talked quite a bit about the deck. Do you guys have anything else you want to say about the Dragonic Overlord Legend deck at this point?
I'm excited.
I'm also excited.
All right, so we can move over to our term of the week. Well, since it's kind of staying in a progression, picked Rearguard for the term of the week this week. Rearguard is basically the circles that are not the Vanguard circle and not the Guard circle, which I guess that is kind of confusing to have something called the Guard circle. But it's the 2 circles that are to the left and right of the Vanguard, and then the 3 circles that are in the back row. So you have a front row and a back row, and anything in the back row is always a Rearguard, even the one that's behind the Vanguard. And the rear guards in the front row can be used to attack other rear guards. They can be used to attack the Vanguard, and the rear guards in the back row can only be used to support. So that you want to have 0s and 1s in those back row rear guards because they have the boost ability, so they add their power to the attackers in the front row. A lot of skills, you want to pay attention to the skill on the card. Because it may have a skill that is only activated when something's placed on the rear guard circle. So you keep in mind that if it's placed on the Vanguard circle, it doesn't activate. What else can we say about the rear guards?
Keep in mind that for the longest time when I started playing, I thought the rear guard meant everything behind the Vanguard. And it really isn't that.
And also on the left and right hand side, the rear guards can move as long as the circle is open. They can move.
No, you can switch them too. If there's one in the front and one in the back, you can switch places.
Can you really?
Yes, you just can't switch from left to right. So like if you have a unit behind your Vanguard, you can't switch that anywhere. But if it's just if it's between the front row and the back row, you can just switch them.
Okay, so that's only before you start attacking, correct? Once something's rested, you can't do that. Unless you're an Aqua Force.
Once you're attacking, you can't you can't attack with your front row, then switch attack with your back. Yeah, you can't do that.
Unless you're
Aqua Force.
A bunch of jerks. Multi-attacking tricks that they can do. Also, you want to pay attention to abilities that are activated when something is placed on the rear guard circle, but automatically have it move someplace else. When I think of the perfect example for this is Psychic Bird from the Oracle Think Tank. You can either place it on the rear guard circle and use it as a boost for something that's in the front row, or you can place it on the rear guard circle and then immediately put it into the soul under the Vanguard and use it to draw a card. But if you place it on the rear guard circle and use it to boost, you cannot then later use it to draw a card because that skill is only activated when it is placed on the rear guard circle.
Yeah.
So you have to make that choice, whether you need to do a card draw and soul charge or whether you just need to boost the power at that point in time.
And if you're playing Gold Paladins, especially the Bluish Flame like me, the entire deck revolves around putting cards from your deck onto your rear guard circle. and it gets kind of confusing the more that you put out, because you have to really think about your placement of your cards, because some of them will let you shuffle them back into your deck. So that does leave an empty space where you can put another one in it. But it just really gets confusing unless you're keeping track of that.
Well, that comes under the category of know your deck. Right?
True.
Know how you're supposed to be playing your own deck, know your own cards, and be able to explain what you're doing to your opponent while you do it. The other trick about rear guard is before your attack phase, if you have something on the rear guard that you want to replace or you no longer want to use, you can retire directly from the rear guard. You just pick it up and put it into your drop zone. There's no penalty for that. There may be an ability on the card, especially like if it's a grand blue, that's activated when something is put into the drop zone. But there's no cost to pick something up from the rear guard circle and put it into the drop zone if you don't want to use it any longer, or if you want to activate.
Can you just do that? I thought you had to call something over it for that to activate. For you to be able to retire something.
No, you can pick them up and retire them.
Oh, that's useful.
Oh,
that
really?
Nice to know. Time ago.
Now double check me for next week. Put that on the list of things to double check. I was pretty sure you could just pick them up and retire them. You don't have to ride over them. But I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. But still, you have to do that before the attack phase. One way or the other. All right. Any other misinformation that we need to give out about rear guards?
No, I think that's all the misinformation they need.
All right. I think we covered
thanks
it.
for that.
So we've gone on long enough for tonight, so I will start to close out here. First, thanks again to SBJ, who's been helping us get everything set up, get our iTunes feed going, SoundCloud. He's got us getting tracking statistics and everything like that. So he's really moving us along into getting this going and hopefully running successfully over time. Thanks to Nick Burgess for the music that we're going to continue using. I think it sounds pretty sweet. And if he actually has albums for sale on iTunes. So if you actually want to get some more Nick Burgess music, you can just search for his name. Actually search for Nicholas, Nicholas, and then the last name Burgess, Burgess. I like his album Planet Wizard or Wizard Planet. I can't remember the name of it, but it's worth a listen or two. And if you want to reach us, I'm available at Wash in the Sink. Cole, you're available at?
Yeah, I'm at COLE_MCCUNE.
And Jack, you're available at?
I am at drive_Jack. That is a play on drive check. That is not anything other than that.
Because we're the Drive Check podcast.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Drive Check podcast. Peace.